shortly. Everybody ready down there?
As ready as you are.
Heck yeah. All right, I will call the meeting to order and we will rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We'll start with a roll call this evening. Mr. Fleming, Ms. Hahn,
Here.
Mr. Heyer, I'm here. Mr. Fisher, he should be along shortly. Mr. Namowitz,
I'm here.
Mr. Reed.
Here.
Very good, and we have one vacancy on the board at this time. I need a motion to approve the agenda, please.
So moved.
I'll second.
Any questions or discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion carries. The agenda is approved. Speak of the devil.
Yeah,
Welcome.
horns and all.
We have no carryover or postponed agenda items. F is our regular business, and the first order of business tonight is to approve the minutes from the February 9th meeting. Can I have a motion to approve the minutes?
I
Motion
move
to-
that we approve the minutes of the previous meeting.
Second it.
Very good. Any questions or discussion?
I read them. They look normal to me.
Very good. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion carries. Item number 2 is a review of the 21-22 Video Center budget report ending through March. We're coming up on the end of our fiscal year here in another 3 months. And so I'll turn it over to Stefan to walk us through that.
So you should all have a bigger one here. It should be the first one into the paper clips, larger ones. Everything's looking pretty good. We will be making a budget amendment a little later this evening for our staffing. As you'll see, that's only 26% remaining. Just based on how things are going, we'll need to make an adjustment there. You'll see under conference and registration, nothing has really quite hit at that line yet, even though we've purchased that stuff, conference stuff. So that will be coming. You'll see that hit the budget after this. But otherwise, everything is looking good. Nothing.
And you feel your projection here is pretty accurate how we'll end the year.
Yes.
Very good. Any questions?
I guess when I looked it over, I was curious about the percentage that EduStaff was getting.
Yep.
And it seemed as though I read in the minutes that if it were run through the school, it would be a 40% cost. But doing EduStaff is only 17.
Correct.
Yep. It's an 18. Yeah, 17%. Yep. You're correct. Yep.
But the EduStaff is supposed to get more expensive. Is that true?
So I was not aware of the contract fee that was imposed that EduStaff collects, which is the cause for our budget amendment that will be coming later. So I'm just fixing what we did not know.
I see.
And as a result, we would have run out of money in those line items because it's a contracted service, so it doesn't matter what the money is in there for. It just goes to that contract. But when we budgeted for that contract, Stefan didn't know to budget for that fee because he was never told about that. And lo and behold, we're using that more rather than having our own on-staff people as we have had in the past. And that's, it's sort of hitting at this point where we'd run out of money and we can't do that. So.
Yeah, well, you could almost claim there was a 23% savings there.
Yeah.
You could.
Yeah.
And that's why we're doing it the way we're doing it.
Correct. Yep.
Yeah.
And granted, if we were to hire somebody, to be a video center employee that wanted to work in public education for, a good long time, we may not hire them through EduStaff. A benefit could be, hey, you could participate in the retirement system.
Right.
Now, granted, that's going to cost us more money, but if that's the spiff that we need to get them aboard, we could be creative that
Well,
way.
and that is how that position started, but we just found people were, sticking around
Right.
only a couple of years, and we were kind of like, well, we're paying into the system that either ITV and the staff isn't benefiting from, so.
Well, it makes the EduStaff that much more attractive.
Yep.
Yeah,
And,
this particular
and
instance.
typically speaking, somebody with the skill set of working in a video center is not going to be a 30-year employee and retire, and they're going to want to go on and face other challenges and advance their career, and
Right.
probably not in a public school. Any other questions on the financial report? Very good, thank you very much. Item number 3 is a request to approve the budget amendment for staffing, as I think we kind of let the cat out of the bag and kind of covered that already, but we'll accept a motion to amend the budget.
I'll
That
make
is
a
on-
motion to amend the budget.
That is on page, I don't have a page number.
It's on the back of
The motion would be to decrease equipment over $5,000 by $1,500, decrease contracted maintenance and repair by $2,000, and increase the EduStaff purchase service line item by $3,500 as a budget amendment.
And the reason that I support it, is I read through it and it made sense to me, but I would encourage someone else to.
Right.
That is your motion,
That is
correct?
that is my
That's the
motion.
motion you make. We just need a second.
I'll second.
I think it's second.
Okay,
ahead.
Yeah.
Mr. Reed, all right. Any questions or discussion on anything we did not cover? Any other questions you might have on this?
The other thing I would only add to this is that $3,500 is, I added a little more to that. With my leaving, I wanted to make sure that Santino and Matt could lean on our part-time staff a little more if they need to. So that should cover them until the end of June, so.
Very good. Seeing no other questions, all those in favor, please say aye.
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 Anybody opposed? The budget amendment carries. Item number 4 is an update on the National Association of Broadcaster Conference.
So, I think at our last meeting, we approved up to 3 staff members to go to NAB in Las Vegas. Since then, I've accepted a job somewhere and will not be going. However, Matt and Santino will be, and I just thought I would bring to the board the cost so far to get them to do that. Obviously, food and other travel expenses once they get there, we won't know those until they come back. So I just thought I would disclose what that was.
Excellent. Any questions on this? We made a motion to sort of conceptually approve it, and I think just we don't do too much as a video center board formally, so I would entertain a motion to approve the conference attendance for the 2 staff members as presented, just to formalize our support.
So moved.
Very good. Do we have a support?
Now that I know that Steffan's not going, I'll make the motion.
Fair enough. We have a motion.
Based
Mr.
on that, I'll
Namowitz.
second it.
Yeah.
Was that Ms. Hunt,
Yes.
a second? Any questions or discussion on that? All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Anybody opposed? Motion carries. We are blessing your request. Item 5 is the request to approve next year's video center budget proposal. And the way this works is Stefan brings this budget proposal to us, which I think is on the next big page.
Correct.
Behind the financial report that we just looked at. He brings this this proposal to us for the budget that starts July 1 and runs for 12 months. We give our blessing tonight or suggest any changes that we want to suggest. This then rolls into the school budget that the school board approves at typically our second June meeting before the fiscal year starts.
And there's a few things I'd like to note here. You'll see in the EduStaff line that is increasing by 23%. That is accounting for that contracted, or that contract fee from EduStaff. And also, this includes a 3% salary increase. If you look at the back of that big page, there are notes. That includes a 3% salary increase for our full-time staff member. And on number 4 note, kind of shows you the breakdown of how I got to that EduStaff number. I will note that the school did not have an exact number for healthcare costs for that staff member, so in September, that might have to get revisited, and there might need to be a tweak there once we have an official number.
Very good. Can I have a motion to approve the fiscal year 23 budget as presented?
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second that.
Very good. Any questions or discussion?
Who's going to prepare the budget in the future?
So, in the meantime, so with this approval, this you're really kind of set until September. So hopefully by then you would absolutely have my replacement, and then they would be doing that.
And you'll come
If-
back and train them?
Yes, I have agreed to come back and help them out and show them what they need. Yep.
And I've done these budgets before too, so it's a little dusty, it's a little cobwebby now, but I'm sure I
It
can.
hasn't been that long.
Hasn't been that long.
Yeah,
I'm sure I can stumble my
Matthew
way
used to
through
do a
it all.
pretty
Yeah.
good budget presentation. I remember him doing quite well with that.
Okay, great.
Any other questions or discussion? And the capital budget is also included, it's reflected in the budget, but this is sort of the schedule of what capital investments we would make, because obviously we're not replacing all our equipment in one year. We want to space that out, and this is a little bit of a history of what we've done and, you know, what we intend to do going forward. And as with any budget, this is a plan, certainly subject to change. As technology changes or needs change, we can be flexible and adapt, you know, accordingly. But this, it's always good to have a kind of a master plan, and this is our master plan of, you know, what assets that we want to obtain and upgrade. And we've just done some fairly, I don't know if significant is the right word. We've done some heavy lifting, replacing some of our main systems, and so the next couple of years here are not as aggressive as, you know, maybe the last few years.
And-
Kind of on par with that.
And the other note I would say is conference and registration has been reduced by 50%, because our staff is going to NAB this year. I envision that staff might take advantage of more local opportunities, some online training potentially next year, and not need to have that amount of budget for that next year.
NAB's fun, but it's not an every year conference. It's an every, I think last time it was 7 years ago or something like that. Every
And-
5-10 years, something like that.
And I mean, if, you know, fast forward, you know, 10 months from now or something like that, if we have a new person on board, you know, that might change. We might need to do something like that, but at this point, you're saying we don't necessarily anticipate it, but we want to, I think as a video center board, we want to allow for flexibility to, as needed, you know, if a new person comes on and that's training is going to be really valuable and they would make the case that we could do it, I think we would entertain that rationale and, you know, look at our financial position at that point. You know, we certainly don't want to be penny wise and pound foolish. The whole point is that we're doing great things and we're supporting that work. Any other questions on the budget?
I guess my question would be, there's going to be upgrades for this room upcoming?
Yes. So I was already in the process of putting that together. When the new person takes my spot, they are going to get a folder of all the projects that I have in the works, and I've been creating a detailed explanation of why I'm doing what I was doing. So they should be able to pick up pretty easily the upgrades that are planned for this room and run with them. So.
And just to be clear, like the school district has, you know, replaced the projector and dealt with some lighting and dealt with some in-room sound kinds of things. This is really how the broadcasting system would interface with the in-room audio system, the cameras, and then how they're controlled, right? Because you won't need to have anybody sitting in the room anymore. You could be sitting elsewhere.
Yeah, you could.
With the new stuff we have,
and that-
whether we do that or not is
Right.
remains to be seen. But that's the capabilities that we will have.
Correct.
Right.
Very good. That was my only question.
Great. Seeing no other questions, all those in favor of adopting the budget as presented for fiscal year 23, please say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion carries. Item number 6 is the production status update. Mr. Blow and Mr. Merck.
So as kind of previously indicated, I have received an offer and have accepted a position as a broadcast engineer at a local TV station. My last day with the township is going to be April 29th. I have offered and have been asked to be part of that interview committee for the township to hire my replacement, and I'm more than happy to do that, and I'll gladly come back and have chats with the new person and make sure that they can pick my brain as much as they want. So there's that. And the second part of that is I've kind of put a pause on the things that I was working on because I don't want to start a project and then leave and then be in a weird place where there isn't somebody there to run that project because they didn't know what I was doing. And I guess I'll kind of toss it over to Matt here for some school stuff.
We did girls lacrosse recently. That was our first lacrosse game of the year. We still got some, I think, soccer and boys lacrosse coming up as well. We might try to get baseball or softball. We haven't done that in the last couple of years. In the past, we did it when we had our very old hand-me-down Parks and Rec van, but now we have our nice big van, so in theory, it should be easier to do it. But it's been a little while since we've done it. Aside from that, Renaissance High School, their program, I think, got fully approved somewhat recently for CTE stuff. So the media courses that I teach over there are now state recognized, like Clarkston High Schools are as well. So that's nice. We also went to middle school and junior high, CTE, Career and Technical Education, kind of did like a career day thing, kind of in both places. So we got to, I think at the middle school, we just kind of had a portable TriCaster there and walked them through, doing fake announcements over there. And I think the junior high, I'm trying to remember, junior high was just more, I think, of a general questions kind of thing, if memory serves. But, yeah.
And I would also add, we hired a part-time social media person. Something that the three of us have noticed is doing social media is a lot of work, and being able to say, here's the videos, put them out there has been really nice, and it's created a lot of consistency for us. And if anyone has dabbled with social media, consistency is key. So that has certainly helped us.
I guess my only comment on the social media piece would be, let's have a way to measure the results.
Yep.
We need to do it for a sustained period of time, but, let's just make sure that we're getting the value out of the investment, that we are getting, views and interactions and, more exposure to what we want.
And the person we hired actually, where she also works another job, and she creates reports to show that, so she knows how to do that. So I would anticipate something like that coming to the board in the future, of showing like, hey, this is how we've grown.
Yeah, and I don't think, I don't want to do reports for the sake of doing reports.
No.
A lot of these programs, they'll run monthly reports and nobody ever looks at them.
Correct.
I think that's a waste of our effort. But certainly, periodically, I think it makes sense for us to evaluate our general marketing direction, and look at, does that make sense? Has it increased our stature? Has it increased our exposure? If it hasn't, maybe we put that time and effort in another direction. If it's working and it has, great, let's keep going. But, a lot of people do things because they get used to doing them and they just keep doing them. And there's no time out to say, hey, is this the right thing to do? So as we become more consistent with it, absolutely that should help. I don't see a reason why it wouldn't work, but it is, I think, our job to make sure we're spending the money to get the most exposure we can get.
Is it a half-time? Is that what it is?
Yeah, part-time, yeah.
Yeah.
Right now she's probably about 10 hours a week. But she works at the library, she
10
works for, I believe, a golf course or a church, so it works out well for her and it works out well for us.
When does she start and what is her name?
So her name is Hannah, and she began,
2-3 weeks ago.
yeah, so it was March 8th or 29th. It was a Monday.
So multimedia type things? I mean,
Yeah. Yep. So
Oh.
she's gonna right now she's handling our Facebook and our Instagram, and I think eventually she might start to handle our YouTube as well. So basically, when a staff member has a video done, we let her know that, hey, Hannah, we have this video done, and this is where it is, and then she pulls it in and she figures out when it's gonna go on Facebook and on Instagram.
does she coordinate that with the website as well?
Yes.
Yeah, that's great, because somebody to do that will put a little extra effort into tagging,
Correct.
descriptions,
Exactly.
and all the things that really matter.
And
right?
that follow-up, right, with that business to make sure that they're sharing that post.
Yep, absolutely. Great. Any other questions on the production update?
I think I'll just say, I think Steph and I both started here in 2013, so we're working together for a while, so it will be an adjustment without Stefan here. But congrats on the new gig, and we'll try to keep the calls of questions to a minimum.
And I have enjoyed every minute of working here. This has been a lot of fun.
Well, I was gonna kind of save it to the end, but certainly it will be very different. I mean, you're a staple in the independence television world and throughout the community, and there isn't a chamber meeting I go to or a school meeting I go to where we don't talk about involving ITV in some way, shape, or form. And I really think, obviously you two have worked as a team, but, Stefan, you've been here really since the beginning and been the face in many cases and been out there. And I think, as a community, we're going to miss you. And as a community, we very much appreciate the time you've spent here. Fully aware, I don't think we can probably challenge you enough. I'm glad you stuck around as long as you have. But continuing to grow and challenge your skill set and grow that, and we very much wish you the best of luck going forward. And again, thanks for spending your time with us here, and we'll continue to tap into you as needed. And if you come up with any great ideas or see anything out there, please let us know.
Thank you.
Funnily enough, Stefan came online after Tom Boyce.
Yep.
And I remember going to township meetings and seeing Tom in the back room slaving away over a hot mixing board. And then when Tom stopped doing that and we got Stefan, I would go to the back room and just, give him the razz, so to speak. And to do the work that he was doing requires a certain patience and attention to detail. That to me, and this is just a personal thing, he's kind of a thankless behind the scenes sort of task. And he's performed really well for a long time. And everybody who's seen a meeting, not understanding there was someone who was actually flipping the switches, should understand that the clarity and the legibility and the viewability of nearly every endeavor requires someone with talent like Stefan's, and we were very fortunate in this regard to have him with us, and wish him best of luck with the new endeavor. I'm sure you'll do a great job.
Thank you.
Well, if I could fabricate a gold medal, I would do so right now, because I'm think the number of people who have sat through as many school board meetings as you have are few and far between.
A lot.
And there was a 5-year period where those school board meetings were
Interesting.
extremely interesting is a great way to say it. And every night, sometimes long into the night, in whatever room we were meeting in, under whatever circumstances, Stefan would show up and do his job and really not ask for anything, and adjust to whatever we needed to adjust to. And things were much more interesting, especially for those 5 years. And so the gold medal, gold star, just getting the job done is really the name of the game, and we very much appreciate that. Awesome, you will be missed, but we look forward to building on all the foundational kinds of things that we have in place and continuing to run an awesome operation here.
Yep. And just so everybody knows, everybody at the township feels exactly the same way. And I've wished him well, and we're going to miss him terribly. Yeah.
Absolutely. Very good. We move on to item G, which is public comment. Do we have any members of the audience tonight who would like to address the video center board?
Nope.
I don't see any tonight. Item H is board member comments. Does any board members have anything they would like to add?
Yeah, I would just like to add to what Steve had already said, and Rob, about Stefan. Leanna Hahn and I were able to attend a recent sporting event at Clarkston High School, the girls lacrosse game, and we were in the media center control room, and just thinking about, there's just so many moving parts to managing a live event like this. There's, of course, monitoring the equipment in the control room, but then there's also the booth above the playing field, and you have cameras, you have sound, lighting situations, and the interaction between the control room and the booth over the playing field is just a lot of things that just enough complexity to make it can be a harrowing situation for someone who isn't good with the students involved and just the equipment that's involved there. And I was just very impressed by, you know, how Stefan was able to manage all those different pieces, and I think it's especially in the short term, his presence will definitely be missed. You know, so that's at least that was my impression. So.
I'll just say, doing a sporting event is a team effort. You don't do one of those on your own as a staff member. You do that with a group. And once the game gets going, sometimes, yeah, you don't necessarily need 3 staff members, but sometimes when a game is getting going, the 3 of us together is why it happens.
Right.
And I would say
And this is even being able, this is kind of a step forward from where it was.
Right.
You know, multiple steps forward.
Yeah.
Because before, you guys were out on the field, you were out, you know, doing the stuff, and now with all the investments, and, you know, now you have the ability to be in the broadcast booth versus, you know, out in the field. And it's really, you know, a credit to you taking your talents, seeking, constantly improving, and putting that in place and executing. So, truly, Stefan, you will be missed. Nice
absolutely,
job.
absolutely. Yeah, I was gonna say, Mr. Reed, the calm demeanor and professionalism that Stefan brings to the table is really what is necessary there. And I mean, Mr. Blow, you I think add to that environment. I can't
Right.
imagine somebody high strung. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, some people
Right.
just operate in that chaos world. I try to avoid those people.
Right.
But that just doesn't work with all those moving parts, right? I
Right.
mean, you need to use your expertise. You know, you need to be on
Right.
it. You know, not you know, overly relaxed, but I mean, you need to be laid back, I would say, and,
Right.
and take things as it comes and be flexible, right? And those are all great qualities that we have on our team that, you know, are definitely where we want to be. Any other comments? All right, very good. We have our next meeting is approved.
Yes. So it is in September. New meetings will get new meetings for the next year will happen in November. In the November meeting.
Okay, great. Can we approve those calendar-wise?
Yes.
Right, got it. Very good. Item I is adjournment. Can I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Move second.
Very good. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Anybody opposed? Motion carries. We are adjourned. Thank you very much.
Great.